United Nations member states in 2015 adopted 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Sustainable Development Goal 4 is quality education to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Experts define quality education as that which turns Ugandans into responsible citizens with values to live a wholesome life and also help sustain themselves and contribute to economic development. Government put in place universal primary education and universal secondary education to ensure access to education for all. However, despite the increase in enrollment, the dropout rates are very high.
You take it down a little bit to primary 1, to P7, you realize that enrollment is great. You are almost hitting 2 million of kids enrolling in primary 1. But by the time they reach primary 7, they have really significantly dropped to almost 800,000, meaning you have left behind over 1 million kids. We don't know where they are. Access, if we contextualize it that way, we are trying as a country. But are we talking about quality that is really complementing access? The answer is no.
To prepare Ugandans as much as possible to fit into the modern world, where life is largely defined in terms of technological advancement, artificial intelligence cannot be overlooked. Experts say children must be competent when it comes to digitalization, and university programs should be responsive to modern technology.
The thing we can do in our education to make it more qualitative, to make it more meaningful, is to make sure that our kids learn how to use artificial intelligence, such that once it becomes something more wiser, more intelligent than them, now they can take control of it. They can manage it. What will they do when they are given a job? Digitization, skills or competencies, 0. Computer use, 0. So now you can understand computer troubleshooting, 0. Understanding maybe AI skills, how do you navigate artificial intelligence tools, 0.
In Mulago could not communicate with a doctor in San Francisco. But today, because of advanced technology, a medical doctor in Mulago can perform a surgery on a patient consulting a doctor in San Francisco. Why? Technological advancement. Therefore, when you are in medical school, you have also to study advanced technology in order to be able to apply your medical knowledge properly. Today, you can do a lot of surgical operations without cutting the body of a person.
The UN measures quality education in terms of building relevant skills for financial success, and learners are always encouraged to embrace vocational training and education. The Vice-Chancellor, Victoria University, Dr. Lawrence Muganga, says hands-on skills produce job creators and that it's not about having a university degree, but sustainability.
Sometimes this education system has shaped us to think that if you don't go to university, you are not going to be successful. That is wrong. Not everyone should go to university. You can branch off at senior 4, pursue some kind of vocation, and become a creator, become an innovator, become a problem solver, and you change this country. You can branch off at senior 6, pursue something that your heart is passionate about, that you feel you can do, and then you're going to change society. And then you're going to employ people. You are going to become job creators. You don't have to go to university.
Education intends to impart hard skills like engineering, medicine and industrial chemistry to perform technical duties, and also soft skills like behavior, which the former Chancellor, Makerere University, Professor Mondo Kagonyera, says have not worked well, citing the absenteeism of teachers and indiscipline in schools by students.
That many schools have been preparing young men and women to pass exams. That's all. To the extent that some of them have even helped the students to cheat in exams. In other words, to remain ignorant. Now, this is criminal. They should show the type of skills they want. Then, in my opinion, the government should provide the infrastructure for places where these skills are imparted to the students after they have acquired their degrees. You see, we must differentiate between education and training. Education, you impart knowledge. Training, you impart skills. We should have centers. Like URI, maybe Uganda Industrial Research Institute. Centers where practical skills are imparted to these young men and women.
In terms of hard skills, employers from the private sector have complained about graduates from universities who lack practical skills. Dr. Muganga is of a view that Uganda's assessment promotes memorization instead of innovation.
You're promoting memorization. You're promoting recalling. You're promoting students to sit somewhere still and cannot consult, cannot solve any problem, cannot learn how to risk, cannot be creative, cannot be innovative, cannot be forward-thinking, just because they are timid, they are anxious, they are under pressure, they are depressed because of something we call an exam. That is not quality education. Quality education should be one that favors continuous assessment. Continuous assessment embedded within competence-based education, an education that endeavors to find the real child that sits in that child and extract them out.
Saying, you carry out your continuous assessment and let us begin and end there. Absolutely rubbish. Countries where continuous assessment is done effectively are countries where they have standards. And again, I'm going back to soft skills. When a teacher doesn't have the soft skills, he cannot teach the hard skills well, and he cannot continuously assess them. As far as I'm concerned, there must be examinations to keep those teachers who may not do their work in check. In fact, the time should come when teachers who don't produce good results are sanctioned.
Experts appreciate the ministry for putting in place a competency-based education model at lower secondary level that imparts students with 21st century skills. However, educationists recommend that this be implemented in an education system that prioritizes continuous assessment instead of national examinations. To Professor Mondo Kagonyera, examinations are a necessary evil and continuous assessment requires education with standards.
And I think even in O level, now 80% is always going to remain a national exam. So continuous assessment doesn't work like that. It is just that small magnitude that they are looking at, 20%, and then 80% is a national exam. So what we call continuous assessment is me to pose a question, for example, to my students studying geography, for example, or SST, and then I tell them, look, I want you to go out and research, right? And then they'll come to class one by one, or you can even make them a group, and then as a group they come and present to the teacher, and the teacher will award results according to now what the students have done. They have learned presentation skills, they have learned how to collaborate with others, they have learned research skills.
Continuous assessment can only be useful if there are standards. Today there are no standards at all. That's why you have a school where children will get grade 1, 100% of them will get grade 1 in their exams, and you get another school where you get 0. kids in grade 1. Now when you talk about continuous assessment, how about that guy who is not teaching his course? How do you evaluate the teacher that he himself taught the course that is supposed to teach?
As Minister of Education and Sports, a National Curriculum Development Center plan to review curricula, experts recommend creation of school districts with curriculum that emphasize issues of that region and community, in addition to national and world stages. Professor Mondo Kagonyera is of the view of having a curriculum that is geared to give essential knowledge to learners.
About creating school districts. And school districts, I mean, you get regions that have similar socio-economic needs and opportunities. And then you tailor their curriculum to that particular school district. And then assessment should be one that is relevant to that particular school district, because students are trying to understand their community. They are trying to solve problems within their community.
What should happen is we should teach our children what is essential. For example, if you are a kid in Kasese, why should you know about what is happening in the prairies of Canada, for example? Why should you know what is happening in the forests in the Amazon forest? You don't have to. You know what is relevant in order for you able to apply yourself to modern. There is so much.
Ugandans have been called upon to adapt education that is competitive in the world, and experts express optimism that the education system of Uganda can be revitalized with the present leadership of the Ministry of Education and Sports. I'm Nafka Farida, reporting